Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, welcome. We'd love to meet you tonight. We'd love to say hello. We'd love to see your faces too, you guys with your cameras off. We'd love to see ya. But everybody starts out muted, and then in just a bit, we'll be able to open it up. The only announcement really that I've got is, well, I don't know if we've decided. I'm waiting. Okay, I got it. Okay, couple announcements. First of all, to best use Zoom, if you want to put your feature on speaker view versus gallery view, it's helpful because while Art's talking, if you just see him, it's much easier than seeing all the different screens and all the activity going on. So you can choose speaker view versus gallery view. People are still rolling on. Here comes Linda Robson, the Valalas. Hello, guys. Awesome. Let me give them a minute to come on so they can hear this too. All right. Hey, guys. Hey, so this is our last solution group for the year. We'll be taking the next 2 weeks off for the holidays. It gets so close to Christmas that attendance seems to be down this time of year just because everybody's spending it, you know, doing other things. So we're going to take the next 2 weeks off. So we'll be back the first Tuesday of January. We also have a special guest lined up for January. Stay tuned on the exact date. We have a tentative date right now, so we're just working on finalizing that. But we're going to do a Wednesday night for our In the Spotlight with Battlefield Addiction. We are going to, Dave Smith from Refuge Recovery is going to be joining us in January. So we're looking at January 13th. So we will confirm with you guys just as soon as we have that date nailed down. So stay tuned for that. And Art, do you want to introduce our comedy moment?
Sure. I gotta let him sit for a second.
Okay.
He's pretty ramped up today. He's excited.
All right, we'll give it a minute. And let me tell you this, everybody's vote is that it just doesn't give you justice in your living room there, the view of your living room. Becky was just messaging saying it's just so much cozier than it appears. It's a beautiful, it is a beautiful spot. Art's coming at you guys from the Kent's house, which is actually his childhood home. And it's a beautiful, cozy house.
There's been some pretty pure energy in it for a lot of years. I think the only disruption was probably my drug use, which kind of maybe messed up the flow for a little bit, but my parents are pretty strong and kind of overcame that. So it is a pretty calm space and a nice energy always. Yeah. We ready for Kyle?
We're ready.
Yeah.
Somebody get him from his trailer.
Do we want to try unmuting everybody for this?
We can try it.
Okay.
A lot of pressure for Kyle.
Yeah. So we're going to try this. And so but what we need, if you have any background noise, go ahead and turn it off now. So we don't get that background noise. So we can just all be normal.
So we're looking at what, the 4th edition, or is it the 3rd edition?
Oh, actually, you know what? It doesn't allow me to unmute all anymore. Oh. It doesn't allow me to do that anymore. So I actually can't do that.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the 4th edition of Kyle's Corny Comedy Corner.
We're unmuted.
Oh, yeah. Allison's unmuted. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you can. If you can unmute yourself, go ahead.
I did.
No, it's really disruptive, I think, Ange.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Sounds terrible.
Let's cancel that. Sorry. We're going to have this mastered by the new year for Kyle. We're going to have a special intro, the same every time. We'll get it. Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay. So ever since we started doing this, you know, I've been trying to make my jokes better and better. And all this week, I've been trying to think of a really good joke about unemployment, but they don't work. I mean, lately, a lot of these guys, they've been asking to go on jogs and go on walks, and it makes me think about, you know, the times that, you know, I find myself on a walk. I usually go to a park, and I usually end up finding those trees that have the heart and the initials and, you know, the two lovers there, and everyone thinks it's so romantic. You know, I wonder, why are people bringing knives on their date? But I do love my job. I do feel like I'm taken for granted a bit, like I'm an important person, like to these guys, I should be royalty. The only one who truly seems to understand me is my dentist. I mean, he told me, he said, Kyle, you need to have a crown. In fact, he said, I need multiple of them.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I got two other jokes. One I just thought of is why does Santa Claus love coming to this house? Because we're all about presents. Little play on words there. But what does the man on the moon do when he needs a haircut? Eclipse it.
Oh, Kyle, if you could see these screens. Oh, that's cute. The Kale and Maddox's is the one that stood out here, guys. Here, do that again. Yeah. They were giving you lots of cheers. Oh, that was great. We're good to go. Go ahead, Art.
Wow. Well, about it's been a tough year. About 3 years ago, I think it was. Was it 3 years ago when my mother died, Ange?
It was 2018, October. So
in October of 2018, actually in about May of 2018, when I got sober in 2011, and I didn't understand or really have a practice for not suffering. I didn't understand. All I understood was that you get sober and that will fix things. And I thought that was true. So that's what I put as a priority. And that was what my commitment was for. And the commitment was to stay sober. And if I could do that, I just kind of thought it was magic that my life would just turn around and everything would be entirely better. About 2013 or 2014, I started noticing that something was up. I started kind of noticing that there was anger and that there was inferiority inside of me and insecurities and resentment and hate and disconnect. And I wanted distractions and I wanted stuff. And I was driven, so things were happening rapidly in my life. And then something shifted in about 2014, and there became a different priority in my life. And that priority was like figuring out how to not hate, figuring out how to not be angry, figuring out how to not be resentful, and to figure this stuff out. It came that I started looking into all these sources, whether that was religion or more meetings or whatever road I was trying to go down. Very actively and aggressively, I would go down these roads. And when religion, for me, it wasn't just, I'll go to church. I then had to meet the pastor, and I had to meet with him privately, and I tried to aggressively understand it and intellectualize it, and that just didn't work for me. Not yet anyways in my life did that work for me. So I did find Eckhart, and I did find Power Now, and then what it became art looking to be less art. So basically it was just this quest to be more in the moment and less in the future or past. And what is that? And that quest went on for a while until about and it was deep. So I read everything I could get my hands on. I looked up everything that I could get my hands on. I studied things like non-duality. I studied Alan Watts, Eckhart Tolle, Tara Brach, everyone I read, I just read and I read, and I thought that reading was going to do it. I thought I was going to find a way to be less art, and art was always trying to get away from art, and that was just what I was doing. I was art trying to get away from art, and I almost developed a hatred towards my story, my thoughts, no matter what the condition of was my life, I still didn't. It wasn't satisfactory to me. And eventually I ran into a gentleman named Paul Hederman, and Paul Hederman kind of did something for me. And it was 2 years ago. It was like the right timing. It was right before my mother's death. And at the time I was taking care of my mother every day. And Paul said something to me that was or he showed me something. And what it was that I was art, and I was trying to get out of art. And what he showed me was, and I saw it to be true, that I wasn't art. And the way that he showed me that I wasn't art is he explained it in a way where he said that I was actually, so I want to make sure that that people understand what's happening here. What's happened here is that we come on as kids and we are presence. We are now. We are now. And at some point we lose that and we become a character called art. And we become somebody, is what Ron Dass says. And that somebody has a lot of problems, and it has a lot of story, and it has a lot of history, and it has a lot of ups and downs, and it has a lot of gain and loss. But what happened to the nowness that we used to be? And what happened to the fact that we didn't have that story before? So who were we before that story? And eventually what Paul Hederman's story was, the problem was I was art trying to get out of art, and in reality I just wasn't art. So what he explained to me was that you can't be more now. You cannot be more present. You cannot be more aware. You are awareness. You are presence. You are now. And to understand that was deep, because what it showed me was it wasn't art trying to get out of art. It was, I'm not art, and let's just not go there. And so if you can get the correct starting position, which is very important, because if you don't, you'll be trapped. And it's very important for me, just in this time of need, to be able to stay in my correct starting point. You know, I was driving in my car today, and I just kept having this occurrence, and it was like, stay in the no. What my mind kept saying was, stay in the nobody. So stay in the nobody position, stay in the nothing position. So I challenge you all to see what that feels like, to actually sit and look at the world and be in the nobody position. Just be nobody, just be nothing. And if you just sit there and be nothing and try how long it lasts, like how long until you're something. And so what ends up happening is that you're nothing and you're nobody, and you can just look at the world and just be that, be nothing. And so today, as I was driving in my car, I tried to remain in the nothing position, just remain nothing, remain nobody. But art always wants to pull me down and make me somebody. So it was this pull, it's this pull of what we are. So the truth is that tonight I want to make sure that we go into the new year, and there's this, for me, a disinterest in anything other than results. I've had this year has been difficult, and there's this rejuvenated, I'll get into what we're going to go with Battlefield later, but there's this rejuvenated quest for results. And in order to get results, there has to be a commitment to what we're doing here. And what eventually ended up happening is that Paul Hederman explains it as self trying to get out of self. So for a long time, it was just self trying to get out of self. I just become this character, and then I was trying to escape the character. And then to get to this profound position that you know, he says it in a way, he said, see, you are now. You don't have to be more of it. And we talk about being now all the time. And I think it's important that you understand that you're not trying to be more now, that you are now, and you're trying to be less the character. So the starting position is very important. So he says, well, I'll prove to you that you are now. I'll prove to you that you're now, because now has never occurred without you. So if now has never occurred without you, then how are you not now? And that's it. That's the correct starting point for the new year, is that you are now. There's no more of it. There's no less of it. There's just what the more or less is the character that you play. So that is the degree of changing, but now will always be back there. It's always available. You're always it, and you're always now. And this starting point, it's profound and it's impactful, and it's very important that people understand it, because if you don't understand it, you will spend your life in LA trying to find LA. And that is the deepest thing that came about with listening to Paul. But it was at a time where in my life where when this news shows up for you, and I hope tonight that you guys ask questions if you don't understand this, because somebody might need it. When this shows up for you and you understand that you're now trying to not be a character, that you're trying to disidentify with this role that you've been playing, that you're trying to be nobody, and that the commitment to the path of being nobody is the path that we're on. You see a lot of people come to treatment, and what happened was they were somebody, and that somebody is now not the somebody they thought it was. And so what they do is they just rest here, and they rest, and then they go back out and try to be somebody, and then they inevitably get slammed down by life, and they use drugs, and they come back here to rest again, and then they go try to be somebody. And what I'm trying to get across to the people here is that what we're actually doing is going down a path of becoming nobody. And that is exactly what Ram Dass says, or what Eckhart's saying. And I want to make sure that we're going down this path, and we don't have to even, and eventually if you look closer, there's not a path of becoming nobody. You are nobody. You are nobody. And your mind makes up that you're somebody. And then that somebody has a lot of problems, so you try to escape those problems. So the idea that you can take this nobody position and just watch the world and just be in the world and connect with the world, that's what we're after. But it's not like you have to try, it's just there. What you have to try to not do is be somebody. And so eventually you just kind of see it. And I'll tell you, in the difficult times, somebody's showing up all the time. And, I thought that I had kind of fixed this thing, or I've kind of 2 years ago when my mother died, it was fairly simple to get through the process, or it was like, but there's going to be there was a profound sadness in it. And I know because there's this realization that all the drama in your life and all the ways that you thought you were important, and the commitment to looking good that I used to live, all that kind of goes away. And then you realize that the path of wherever you're trying to go just is on this path of becoming nobody. And that doesn't seem too interesting to folks. And so they don't make that commitment. And so what they do is they work on their somebody. And I just see everybody, working on their somebody like that's going to fix itself. And it just doesn't. And then the other thing that is, if you do want to go, well, I don't want to be somebody. I want to go on this path of being more present. Well, then watch out, because if you're going to go on that path, I want to let you know that you're already presence, that you are presence. And now that just puts the cart and the horse in the right position. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, because I didn't understand what Paul was saying for a lot, I had to literally call the man on the phone and try to get what he was saying until I saw it. And it kind of deflates it'll deflate your quest for spirituality and let you know that you are the spirit that you were seeking. So anyways, that's kind of the topic tonight. I know I'm sad tonight, and the mood is there's a lot going on, and the mood is sad. And for me, why this is even coming up is that I'm really trying to use my solution, and the solution that I practice is when the problems of art show up big, I'm not art, and to really see that clear, and to really see that the present moment has no problems, but this difficulty of staying there and staying in this nobody position is profound. And the more intensity of the problems, the more you're pulled into the somebody. You guys,
Whatever that is, it's coming through really loud.
it's Woofy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay, then that's okay. We'll accept Woofy.
He's trying to be somebody. But anyways, this year, going forward, I want to challenge everybody that's been tuning in, and I know a lot of regulars on here, and I want to make sure that there's a commitment to the path. And I think that there is two paths that people can take on this planet, and one is to fix their somebody, and the other is to become nobody. And I think that these two paths are very clear on which one is the proper solution in my mind. I imagine the people trying to be somebody today didn't work, and there's peace in this other path. Hey, they're picking now to play. So again, I just want to answer questions on it, and I will tell you, people keep coming to me for help, and signing up for coaching, and I tell everybody the same thing. We want connection, or we want to fix things, or we want to do this. I just got my hair cut today by my haircut, and I seen her with her children, and I seen the difficulty she was having, and I seen the game that she was playing. She had a youngster. He was about 12 years old, and oh boy, was he challenging. He challenged her on everything that she said to do. Everything that she asked of him, he challenged her on why it was unnecessary, or why. And when I told her, she asked me what she should do, and she asked me where she should start. And I told her the same thing I tell everyone. I say, well, you got to start with this intentional presence. And I said, just next time I'll be back in 2 weeks to get my hair cut. And between now and the next 2 weeks, I want you to look into your experience and intentionally be present. And, that goes for a little while. You get somebody convinced maybe to be present, and then eventually you can show them that they are present, but it's not some quick jump. It's like, a lot of work to get there. But, it's so hard for people to fathom how that's going to work. They've been fixing somebody, being somebody, fixing somebody, trying to fix everybody around them, trying to control, trying to change, trying to do things with their voice, and trying to tell people to change, and trying to, it's this big profound thing that people need to change. So I'll tell them, and that's how I change people. And when I tell them that there's an alternate solution, they don't buy it. And I think that's the biggest difficulty, is that so many people have been around for years, our program. And I found it recently how very few people have actually committed to this path, and committed to this intentional presence path with this knowledge of their own experience, and kind of turning the camera back on themselves and lighting their experience up with their own awareness. And that's what we're doing. Whenever adversity comes, we're turning this awareness onto ourselves, and we're turning it onto our experience. And I just find it so difficult that people think that to commit to the path. I don't know why they do. And they just continue to ram their heads against the wall about fixing people and fixing the people around them. And no matter how you speak to people and tell them to commit to this path, they don't find it very tantalizing, I guess, or very engaging. And so instead they go, no, that's not going to work. I'm not going to practice. Like, I just ask people to take a breath for 5 minutes. And I know people don't do it. And that's profound, that people wouldn't sit there and just breathe for 5 minutes and have some intentional presence. I don't know what the argument is against it. I guess it's time, or I guess it's whatever. So I'm hoping that this year for Solution Group, that we actually are practicing this solution. An inward motion instead of an outer motion, an inward motion into more awareness, more presence, to eventually leading to this point where you can disidentify with the character that you were, the character that has all the problems, and get yourself to a point where you can just connect with the current moment, no matter what's going on. I'm telling you, I've had this has been an intense year. So for all of us, in times that are easy, it's a lot easier. And in times now, it's way more difficult. But I want to talk about what we're doing here, because it's for everyone, and it's not just for the addicts, and it's not just for the mother that's struggling the worst, or the single mom, or whatever. It's for all of us. And I challenge you, just in the next couple of days, go ahead, sit and be nobody. See how long you can make it. And it'll take 2 seconds before the problems of somebody show up. And that's what it is. How long can I it's like a driving meditation today for me. I just get in this nothing position, and I look at the trees, and I smell the air that was coming in my car from the wind. And I, had no radio on, and I was just driving. I was like, how long can I remain nobody? And it's a second before Art just shows up with all his goddamn problems and wants to talk about them. I mean, go away, dude. And that's it. It's like, I cannot get this fucking guy to go away. He's got problems with his money. He's got problems with his reputation. He's got problems with and he never shuts up. But it's not me. It's not me. If it was me, I would just shut it up. So for sure, I know it's not me. It's like a fucking character that's telling me to think about it. And, I've really gotten to the point where I see it's not me. Now I'm getting to the point where, okay, I challenge you. Let's see how far this can go. Let's see how far this solution can work, because, and then people have an argument against it because they think that they need to handle the problems of this character, but we don't. We obsess about those. We attach to them. We have already fixed it and we still think about it. We haven't fixed it. We can't fix it. And we still think about it. And so I hope, I heard somebody tell me the other day that they watched my group and they didn't know what I was talking about. And that's weird that somebody would watch my group and not know what I'm talking about and not ask a question. So I hope that we can, maybe get some questions today and figure this thing out, because I want to be on the path I love this path. I've committed to this path of, I don't fix my life through fixing my life. I fix my life through more awareness. I fix my life through more truth and presence. I fix my life through, the more I'm now, the better my life is. The less art in it. So if I can get art out of the way for various, my days are filled with him. And if he goes away, exactly what Bob Forrest said. He said such a good thing. If I'm playing a bit part in the day rather than the major starring role, and thinking about all my characters' difficulties. But it was so beautifully said that, that's the practice, is to be more of a bit player, to be just there, and to be a stand-in, to help others, to contribute some calm energy that benefits the room. And, I'm just hoping that we can turn Solution Group into a little bit more quest for this path and people discussing it. And I'll tell you, you'll eventually get to a point where you see just exactly what people are saying. It's not that you need to find love. You are love. That's it. You don't need to find God. You are God. You don't need to find now. You are now. You don't need to find presence. You are presence. Just look what's in the way. What's in the way of love? That character that I'm talking about. What's in the way of connection? That character's problems that I'm talking about, that character's resentments, that character's story, that character's past, that's in the way. So you'll see we are what we're looking for. And if you find it and see that, then the goal is different and the starting point different. And it's not like self is not trying to get out of self. You just see you're not a self. You see you're not that character. You're the projector, look. And so you commit to that position, and love shows up, and it shows up because it's you, and now shows up because it's you. You don't need to find acceptance. You are acceptance. Look, the character in your head is the exact opposite of acceptance. Look, as soon as there's non-acceptance, there's that character again. As soon as you don't like how it's going, there he is again. There she is again. Where is she? Where is that character when it's going good? Just look. There's nothing there. So there's no character when it's going good. Everything's fine. And then as soon as it doesn't go your way, what shows up? So that's the problem. Now you see. So we are these things: God, presence, love, awareness. It's all there. And the difficulty is just remaining what we are, not becoming somebody, not trying to go anywhere. We are nobody. We are nothing. We are everything. But we're not something. See? When we are something, there's a problem. When we are somebody, there's a problem. Somebody's always got problems. Nobody ever did it. In this house, nobody ever did it. Just so you know. That's one thing. I got to find this guy, nobody. He does everything here. Nobody always comes in this house and leaves dishes everywhere. So going forward, I want to talk before we get And I want to come back strong in the beginning of the year. And I want to make sure everybody's committed to the proper path, because so many people might be coming on tonight and they're still engaged in the process of fixing their loved one. They still haven't disengaged from that path. And you still have maybe coming on here with the illusion that I'll give you some words to say that change your loved one. And maybe you come on here and get some words to say that makes them go to treatment or makes them do this or makes them do that. It ain't going to work. And so the reality is that this is about you. And I want to make sure that we're committing people to that path. We're talking about commitments here today. And I kind of made fun of these kids and told them that their commitments are to vaping and smoking or whatever that, but it's not really true, because they've all kind of been here and they're committing to sobriety now, and they have this commitment to sobriety. And beyond that commitment to sobriety, they're doing the work on this path that we're talking about. And I say that this path is irreversible. Once you go down this path of raising awareness, it will be very difficult to find value in any other path. And so this commitment of raised awareness, if I can just get someone to engage just a little bit, just 1 ounce of awareness creates space between you and the character. Just that ounce of space can come in. And as soon as that 1 ounce of space comes in, it just grows and you get further away and you can begin to turn the light on this thing. So, tonight was like a very somber, like kind of sad thing. I know somebody's in pain, and when I know somebody's in pain and I can't get to them or I can't help them, I get sad. And that's going on. So there's sadness in the mood, and it left me kind of, whatever. But I will say that I'm still here and I'm still practicing exactly what we talk about every week. And that's this, disidentification and this truth in our experience and all of it. Ego reduction through ego recognition, self-elimination or self-reduction, or awareness gain, or finding God, all the same. 12 steps, whatever you want to call it. Somebody asked me today at the tanning place. I went to the tanning place. I go once every week. I went to the tanning place and they asked me, what's my recovery program? Because I didn't go to meetings. They were telling me that I didn't have a recovery program and I should go to meetings. And people, whenever I said, well, mine's pretty intimate. It's an intimate thing between me and me. And there's this me, and then there's the old me, and then the me that ruins shit, and the me that shows up angry, and then there's me that's the truth. And my recovery program is just kind of to do with us, me and me. And I don't really include many other people in that, so I don't really go other than you all. And that's just my experience. You want to let Wolfie out? She's very sorry. Woof. Come on, guys. Sorry, they just are restless right now. So we'll just open it up. And I was just rambling tonight, but I do want to tell you guys that if you don't understand what I said about finding now or being now, if you're still you trying to be more now, well, you might just still be in a competition of behavior. You might still be just trying to impress upon somebody that you're something that they aren't. And that can be a trap. The trap of spirituality is found in every deity, every dogma, every domain of spirituality. There's a trap where our identity becomes what we practice. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. And when we start the new year is I want a renewed commitment to it, but it can't be a trap. Like I'm looking at my family members and wondering why they're not as now as me. And that can be another trap, another way of competing. Well, why aren't these people as present as I am? And that's not it. This is simply a solution. When Art shows up and he's got all his problems, if I can remain nobody, I don't have to engage in the problems of Art. And it really makes for a more pleasant, calmer experience. So I hope there's good questions tonight, because That's what I feel like doing.
Yes, that's what we need, y'all. We need all of your participation. So we want this to be a conversation. And so if you don't already know, there is a raise your hand feature on your screen that you can raise your hand and get in line. Sometimes people can't figure that out because devices are different. And if that's you, you can literally raise your hands and get my attention. You can unmute yourself and get my attention that way as well. So whichever way, but this is your opportunity. Let's just open this up. Let's have a conversation about this topic, and any confusion, this is your opportunity. Let me tell you, don't be embarrassed. If you don't understand anything that was just said, please express that. This is the opportunity to do so, because you wouldn't be the only one. So whatever it is your question is that you're nervous about asking, or maybe don't want to say because you might look silly or anything like that, I promise you there's somebody else with the same question. We experienced that last week, and anytime any of the moms or dads come on and start asking questions, I always get feedback afterwards and how that part of the night was so valuable for other people. So please, anything you've got, this is a great opportunity to express any questions, any thoughts, your personal experience. Let's go. Who's first? Sherry. Hi, Sherry. Go ahead.
I've always got questions. It's just a thing.
You. Thank you. Yes.
So how is the nobody position different than how if you get into meditation and mindfulness and things like that, is the nobody position different than that? Or is it, because I could imagine driving down the road and I'm in the nobody position and all of a sudden you're completely, out of left field, right?
Think of it like this. I just made it up, so it's not something that is known. When I said the nobody position, I just made that up. It just occurred to me. I didn't read about it or anything. So I want to, but I want you to think about it like this. I want you to share, if you could picture yourself in a movie theater, and I want you to picture yourself as the projector, and just be the projector for a second. And you're projecting, and all the characters are doing something in the movie. And you like what they're doing, so you just be the projector and you enjoy it and you're in love with it and they're all being friendly and it's a perfect movie. It's exactly what you want to see. Well, then let's say that's the nobody position. Okay. Now let's say that you didn't like what was going on in the movie, and in fact you had developed a way that you could go in there and change it. And so now you're the projector, but then you don't like what's going on. So what would you need to project in there so that you could go in there and make changes? She's muted.
I'm muted. I just unmuted.
What would you need?
I would start bossing people around. That's
okay, but before you could get inside the screen, before you could get inside that movie, you would have to project a character, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the projector then would become a character, and you'd project yourself into that movie, and then you'd become one of the characters. Okay. So nobody is the projector, and the characters are the characters. And it's easy to be the projector when we like the way it's going. So you can sit in a room and be quiet, and you can just be, and your acceptance, and you can project that whole room through your eyes. You're just projecting that room. But when you want to change something and it doesn't go your way, you need to, that's what we do as human beings. We project a self, we project a persona, and we become somebody. And that somebody is designed to then change the atmosphere and change the situation. And so, but that's why it's so difficult, because we become somebody and then we go in and we try to tell people to be different and they don't, and it doesn't work. And we try to establish dominance so that we can control the room, and all that shit just doesn't work. So the nobody position is just just project the world. Just look, you're projecting it. It's projecting through you. I don't know if you're doing, but it is projecting through you. So that was what it was, because see, there's no problems as the projector. So that's it. And it's just this awareness that you're actually, next time we got to remember to feed them, and here's Wolf. She wants to say hi. Wolfie. Watch out. She's gonna. Okay. So can you kind of see that, Sherry? Can you?
Yeah.
can you kind of see that in acceptance, when we're in acceptance of the way the world's going, we're just watching the world and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like as soon as it's not going our way, we become a strategy. And that's what a person is. That's what a persona is. That's what a self is a strategy. So we go from this big, expansive thing that just kind of projects the world into this little smaller strategy that thinks it's going to go in and change the world. And so the nobody position just says, there's no changes to be made right now. It's beautiful. I'm in love. I can just be. But you'll watch, because try to be in that position for any length of time, and then the changes that need to be made in the world it's going to start talking about it. It will start mentioning to you how things aren't right. And that's it. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're not.
You have to be okay with it's not right. It's not your way. You just kind of accept it and kind of go, okay, this is how it is. Okay. That's what it's going to be.
I don't think that you need to throw anything on top of it. Just try to be, all I'm doing is challenging you right now just to be the projector. Just see how long, and then watch out for what comes. Because you're going to show up. The you that we're trying to get rid of is going to show up to tell you that it's not right. And there's something you got to do. You can't be at ease now. Don't be at ease. There's something to do, Sherry. Hurry up. Go. Control, change, alter. That's it. Okay? And so I'm not telling you that this position, you can stay there very long. There's going to be something, but that's the enemy, that thing that's going at you. Telling you to go boss people around and be, Just observe and be present. Just observe it. Just see it. Just see the dilemma. You know, that's it. Take your time to get the light in there and just be aware that there's this little Sherry in there and she wants everything to change all the time. And nothing's ever good enough, and it's got to go now, and it's on your timeline, and it's, all that. That little thing that's telling you to take notes right now.
I know.
Yeah. Why don't you just watch and enjoy the show?
I'm going to mute you now.
She's not going to commit to that.
Yeah.
Thanks for always participating, Sherry. We love it, and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. All right, who's next?
Did Woofy go back out?
Yeah.
Oh, Woofy. All right, guys.
She wants some attention.
Judith, is that you waving your hand? Okay, let's get you unmuted. Can you unmute yourself? I somehow knew, Judith, you were going to have a question tonight. I love it. I'm really happy to hear from you.
Well, I'm a little confused, because being the radical feminist political person I am, about being a nobody when you're seeing stuff that you don't like going on in the world. You know what I mean? Like Black Lives Matter. And I don't mean to make this a political arena.
Yeah.
But how would you maintain that position on something like that?
Yeah. What we're really talking about is, and that's a beautiful question, because we're talking about, we're really talking about in some cases here, like the Serenity Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
We're really kind of discussing that, remaining nobody when there's nothing that can be done that's effective, right? And we don't do that. When there's nothing that can be done that's effective, we attach and we get angry and we think about and we obsess and we wish it could be different. And we don't ever get to the point of effective means of change or being part of a solution that could just, do that. And so instead, we're really spending our time obsessing on things that we can't control. And then that comes and infiltrates the rest of our life. So now we're watching a movie, but we're thinking about Black Lives Matter, or we're thinking about what they said on the news or anything like that. And so I'm not saying that you're not going to participate in the world. I'm saying let's take a break here. Let's get back and find this calm position of nobody. And then let's be aware of how we engage in the world. So now we go forward, but we go forward in this awareness position. So it used to be there was just Art, and Art just rammed his head through whatever I did. There was just an Art-sized hole in the wall. You know, I just ran through whatever I ran through and rammed my head violently, angrily, however it worked or however I wanted to do it. Then there was Art trying to be more now, and I wanted to be now instead of Art. And then there was the realization that I'm now and not Art. And then all of a sudden the pauper position came. So now I live my life as Art, but nowness behind it. So now it's just constant. Like there's this awareness behind that I'm not Art, but Art's the character I play on TV. And I just can go in here and kind of maneuver and affect change in the world with this position. See, most people are just in this position. They're just a character trying to change the world. And they don't see that they can't. They don't even see that the way they're doing it doesn't work. They don't even see that the strategy has failed. They just don't. They just continue the same strategy until frustration and anger and resentment all arise, and they don't get anywhere. And so this is like, there's a few parts. There's, okay, we're first asking you as the character to kind of be more present. We're then saying, take a look, then, and move to this. Here they come. Here they come.
Settle down, dogs.
All right, easy. So it just, again, I want to make sure that this is clear, Judith, because when I told you to be more present and I said commit to that, and then you take these breaths and you do it, what that's supposed to initiate is space between you and Judith. That is supposed to initiate that, where you can now watch Judith. You see? But now you start starving for it. You want to be more of the watcher. You want to be more observer. You want to be more now. So now you work and practice and you try to get there. But you can never really get there because you're always got Judith's problems. And then eventually, hopefully, you can get to the point where you can just see it clearly, that you're projecting Judith, that you're projecting that you're actually just projecting the problems and then trying to escape the problems. See, that's self trying to get out of self. So what you end up with is that you come to this realization of that you're not Judith. You're not. You were a kid. There was no Judith. There was no timeline. How are you even functioning when you were 4? How were you functioning when you were 5? Were you concerned about Black Lives Matter then? Were you concerned about anything then? Or were you just playing? And so all of a sudden, this historic timeline and this character in the story has developed. And I tell a character, be more present. And then I'm telling you, you are presence. Now watch out. Judith's going to show up to ruin your day. She will show up to ruin your day. That will ruin your day. Will your day be ruined if you just look at the plant, smell the flowers? No. The story of Judith will come in, and that will be what messes you up. Okay? And so the serenity prayer is kind of saying, well, let me see when I truly need to be Judith, when I need to handle things and I need to do things. But when I do it, there's going to be the awareness that I'm not her. It's just kind of my character that's going to go in. It's a more effective means of change. It's more of an understanding that we're not telling you not to play anymore. We're saying that you didn't know how to play in the first place. And I never knew how to play. I didn't know how to play in the world. All I knew is dominance. If I yelled louder than somebody, I thought that was how you won. And if I challenged, and if I just rammed my beliefs down somebody else's head, somehow they would come. Maybe I thought if they could just believe what I believe, that was probably the most hardest thing. Like, why can't they believe what I believe? Why are these people so stupid? And then I saw those were just Art's things. That's what I was up to. So I hope that, I don't know if that helped you, but I'm telling you that the work has to start before you can have an effective means of changing anything. We have to see that when you go to do it, you have to take this position, because watch out. Don't be Judith watching these people. Be you watching Judith deal with these people. You have to give yourself that edge. if you're gonna do anything, you gotta give yourself that edge with people. You see that we have this other level. That's why we have to use it, and we've never been taught to use it. We've never been taught to wake up, and that's what we're doing. We're on this path of awakening, this path of awareness. So wake up. You're not Judith. Look, listen. Picture Judith. Picture her. Now, how the hell can you be Judith if you can picture her? That's crazy. You see, you can picture Judith. There's my evidence that you're not Judith. You're the thing picturing Judith. You see? So that's it. So when Judith has all these problems, then just picture her. You're not her. I've literally been riding and profoundly been riding my car lately, and it's deep. It hits me hard. I don't have Art's problems. I have the experience. I look and I go, oh, that's what it feels like to experience Art's problems. There's a difference. Art doesn't have problems. I know what it's like to experience Art's problems, though. It's funny. I can just name them. Oh, there's Art's like envy. There's Art's jealousy. There's Art's like loss. Look at him. Look at this little guy. He's down there just like flipping out about his house or whatever. And I can just see it. You see? You can't be what you can picture. It's impossible. You know, you're not. Anyways, okay. I'm done. Wolfie's finally calmed down. She got stiffed on the food today. You know? Yeah. Oh wow. And she's really upset with Kyle's comedy corner. She doesn't even think he's funny. She thinks that Wolfie should have a segment, you know.
Wolfie's World.
Wolfie's World. We got to get her on there.
Wolfie's Wacky World.
Wolfie's World.
Woof.
Let's do a spotlight so everybody can see. There's Wolf. You know, we really need to get a new camera or laptop.
There's Bark.
Yeah,
and there's Wolfie.
It's not given any justice. And I'm realizing that it's the camera. It's the quality of the camera.
All right. Well, there they are. There's Wolfie.
Everybody,
she doesn't even want to look at anyone right now. She's upset, you know. Judith, I think if you didn't, I want to maybe hammer your head until you understand. I hope maybe if I don't know, come over and have a piece of pie. Maybe that'll work.
You want me to bring it?
No, you brought the pie the last time, didn't you?
I brought cookies.
Oh yeah, these guys just ate them like savages. Yeah, it's like a savage event when we have, they're like cavemen. Yeah. But I think it's just important whether you're truthful, whether this presence practice is initiated, and start there. Just start there, and then it'll go somewhere. And that's the commitment to waking up, and you be present as much as you can, and then you'll see the difference between Judith and presence. You'll see the difference between Judith and nobody. Nobody just cuts the carrot. Nobody just has senses and just is, But somebody's already got problems. That's it. And we obsess about somebody's problems all the time. I know it. I know when I'm attached. See, when I'm attached, I spend an hour obsessing on something that I can't change. And I don't know how to get out of that sometimes. I probably spent 3 hours today in obsessing over things that I can't control. And really in some type of suffering over it. And wishing what was different. And that's tough, And then I think to myself, geez, my practice isn't as good as I thought it was. Like I don't have it yet. I'm not able to stay here. So it's like that. You got it. You get it. But that's the commitment. You know, really commitment to results from Battlefield Addiction this year and what we're doing over there, what they're doing over there. I'm taking a less of a role, and I think the board is stepping up and they're gonna help out with Battlefield a bunch. And Kristen and Becky are stepping up, and Angie, and that's gonna become the team over there. I've got my hands full over here with me going, 9-on-3 with Shelly and Kyle and Jeff and me and these kids, and Angie's going to be taking the helm over there and getting Battlefield, doing more result-orientated stuff. So we're going to ask the same of people to commit on Solution Group and get the same kind of results. How can we all just eventually, like, the best Solution Group ever would be just we all just sat here quietly and looked at each other.
That'd be fun.
Yes.
It'd have to be in person though. At home, it just wouldn't work. So we need COVID to be over, but that would be actually fun.
Yeah.
I think there'd be some people start crying.
Yeah.
I would start laughing. Until I cried. Oh man. All right. Who else? Oh, Becky Wiggins, right on. All right, Wiggins, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
There we go. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hi.
You and Art both know that I've started listening to Hederman when you guys told me about him about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly listen. I bore Becky to death listening to his tapes because I listen to him every day. And if you haven't listened to his talks and you're a member of Battlefield, what he says goes so far beyond addiction. He comes from an addiction standpoint. He's an recovering addict himself. But the systems that he describes pertaining to self and this desire for us to get out of self has nothing to do with addiction. Yeah. I've learned so much about what he says and this inability of me to manage things, and that sometimes you just have to surrender. And if people would listen to that, not once, not twice, but maybe 20, 30 times, listen to some of the things he has to say, I think what Art is saying, a light's going to go on in your head, and you're going to understand what Art is talking about. I think Art says it better than he does often.
Yeah.
But it is eye-opening when you listen to some of his talks to understand that we have kids in addiction, but the same systems driving them are driving us, and they're not escapable.
That's right. That's right.
Surrender to that, and realize that this being convinced that you can't get out of self, and then realize that what your role is in all of this, not just being convinced, but now what's my role? Until you see that, you can't really be of assistance to anybody.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's
people take the time to listen to what Art is talking about, because it is beautiful what he says.
It was so I didn't understand the trap. I didn't understand that my mind would create these issues and problems, and then my mind would try to escape those issues and problems. And Paul says it best. He says it's a presupposing of a non-existent thing seeking salvation from a non-existent thing. So I create a world that is imaginary, that doesn't exist, that has a bunch of problems, and then I use drugs to get away from those problems. And that's the insanity. And if you don't understand the words, when I tell you I'm not Art, when I say that, And when you understand the deep conviction, which I realize I'm not art, I'm not my past, I'm not my future, I am not the story that I obsess about all day. When I tell you that all I am is this current moment, and the insanity lies outside of that in this character called art, if you don't understand what that means, well, that's just because you're trapped, like, and that's okay. That's the start of this thing. You're trapped in self. You've been playing.
I'm muted now. Oh, I'm
No,
not
go
muted.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just, I just want to add that this desire to get out of that, you're never more in it when you're trying to get out of it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
When you're doing all it, whether it's drugs or whether it's us being mad at our kids or trying to influence them or manage them. How would I put this?
That's it.
No, it's hard for me to.
But that's it. That desire is the manifestation that you're trying to get away from. I mean, you know,
it's like food. Instead of being, we're trying to get. He describes it as being the systems we're in. We're trying to escape. That's actually the effort to escape is food.
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
what we want escape from. We don't want escape for. Drugs are just escape for whatever our feelings are. Or as a parent, are trying to manage our kid. That's food for escape. We want that's, he describes it as slavery. That's slavery.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You want to escape from. You don't want to escape for.
Yeah.
So that's the surrender that he talks about. When you surrender, when you're finally convinced, you've surrendered.
Mm.
Now you can actually be of assistance to someone. So
that's right. That's right. No longer are we a character trying to fix another character. No longer does that have anything in it for us. Only when it doesn't have anything in it for us in our story can we be assistance to another person. And that's and only when you can escape the character that you've been playing for years and see it clearly why you do what you do, and to be honest and to have the humility to say everything you do is to try to make you look good as that character. And that's it. You're trying to look good as the character called you. You're trying to be a good mother. You're trying to be and you're looking at the whole storyline of your life, and you're that one moment where you're dealing with somebody and you're really thinking about how you're going to look in your entire life. And it adds a level of trauma and scared and fear. And that's what drives us. So the reality is that what Bill's saying is that you're not a self and you're not this character, and all that desire, that's it. That's the thing we're trying to avoid. Is not the desire in the first place. That's the control.
The world isn't flawed.
The world's perfect. That's right. There is no flaw. This should be happening. So, you know, Paul is very confusing when you first start listening to him. It's tough, and you got to slow it down, but it will break free. And just like I'm talking to you tonight, it will break free if you just keep questioning it. And if you can't see it, you just keep questioning it until you see it. So it's important to keep questioning it and just not go back and to have the humility to go, wait, maybe there's something here I'm missing. I don't understand. And that's it. And by the way, you know, everyone is on here and this is what addicts are trying to do, but it doesn't. There's like Bill said, it's for all ages and for all sizes and for all people. It's the same thing. We're all trying to escape self in some way. Escape self escape the character by making a better character, improving upon it. Escape the character by eating food and you know, feeling different, gambling, you know. Escape the character by complaining. It's all the same. Who's next, Ange?
Stephen Birdie. Go ahead. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I want to put it in terms of the energy, the different feelings of energy. And I guess I could use a metaphor of skiing. You know, if you go downhill skiing, there's a real high energy. It's exciting. It's, you know, the wind's in your hair and you're just going for it, you know, and it's real jazzy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at cross country skiing, which is a form of skiing, it slows everything down.
Yeah.
And it's a different experience, and you're able to not feel the wind through your hair, just feel the wind and smell the air, and it slows everything down. And what, as we're moving through this, I know the difference in the feeling. You talk about being set and unset and all that kind of stuff, but truly it's the more you experience that cross country skiing, or the more you take that breath, and the more you are in the moment, there's a lot of beauty there that you never would have thought would have been there had you not got there and spent time there. It grows.
Yeah.
You put yourself into that practice.
Yep.
So it's a feeling that you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a richer feeling. It's not as dramatic, but it's
yes.
deep. It's not as dramatic, but it's deep.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And I think that I talk to these guys all the time. It's like they always say an NFL football player, when he comes onto the field as a rookie for the first time, they don't play very well because the game moves too fast. And they say after years of playing football, the game just slows down. And that's kind of life. We're just slowing it down to the pace that actually happens at. I always love it, like when you hear the cars going by on the road, and then we get that first snow, and then the snow comes down, and then you hear people walking outside, and you can hear the snow crunching, and you realize that's the pace of life, that pace. And the only reason we think life is at a faster pace is the cars and the fluctuation of the mind. If you take away the cars and the fluctuation of the mind and the airplanes flying by, life is just like this. It's just like this. And it's just the cars and the fluctuation of the mind that make us think life's moving at a fast pace. It's not. And then all the mistakes that we make when life starts moving too fast, the things we say, the things we do, the hurt we cause, you know. So this just like drugs do slow down the pace of life, unless you take some high doses of speed, but that even slows down life. But yeah, you know, but that's it. It slows the brain down and gets you into that moment. So that's the beginning and the commitment to the practice. My life now is about slowing it down, about more presence, about a richer experience, you know. The eventual leading to see that you weren't you in the first place, you know, that you weren't Steve in the first place. Steve was just a character that you created to get on, you know, to make whatever happen that you wanted to happen. But the reality is you made him up, you know. Your mind made up Steve. Wow. You know, my mind made up Art, and then my mind told me Art's got a lot of problems. What a trap. You know, I'm trapped. Slavery, really, that's exactly what Paul says. It's slavery. We're all just slaves to fixing the problems. I can't get away from Art's problems. I don't know. What the fuck? You know, that I can't get away. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
Beautiful.
All right. Anybody else out there?
Yeah. It's okay.
What I am noticing about tonight is everybody's very attentive. They're listening. I don't see the distractions.
Well, there's something inside of you, just so you guys know, when I'm talking right now, you hear me. You might not understand, but I want you to know that the thing that hears me and the thing that's interested, that's what you are. That's what you are. And that thing's trying to get away from what you're not. and it's listening to me because you want to be what you are and you no longer want to be what you're not. And so the reason that you're listening to me is you are truth and you hear it, and you're trying to understand it. But the thing that's trying to understand it, that's not you. The thing that wants it, that's you. The thing that's trying to get away from the thing that's trying to understand it. That thing that's trying to understand it, that's the problem. Just listen. Just see, just come here. It's fine. Quit trying to understand it. That thing that's trying to understand is trying to look good.
That's us note takers. We're trying to understand it.
Yeah, that thing that's trying to understand it.
We can't miss anything. We have to go and review it. We got to get it.
That's that thing that's trying to understand it. The reason it's trying to understand it, it wants to look good and tell people about it.
Yes.
That's what it is. It wants to talk. After this, you want to call your friend and tell them what you know.
Yeah.
But that's not this. The thing that you are is the thing that wants to really, really, really is listening attentive right now. That's the awareness that you are. That's what you are.
Yeah.
And you're starving for it because that's what it is. People don't have water for so long. You give them sand and tell them it's water or whatever they say. That's it. And so we're starving for presence and we're starving for connection. And what we've gotten in place of that is righteousness and anger. And we've got all that in place. And people have mistaken being right for connecting. And they've sacrificed that. They've sacrificed connection in order to be right. And so if you're listening and you don't, that's fine. Just listen. It's going to wash over you. And I'm talking to the right you. I'm talking to the right you. I'm talking to the you that's always been there. And you're hearing it, and just keep listening and commit to hearing it more, and you'll hear it and you'll see it. I know what I'm saying. Believe me. I've went through this. I went through believe me, I know the problem, and it is art, and it's when art shows up, and it's when art wants to tell me about all the problems. And when art wants to look good, when art wants to understand things, and when art wants to do what he wants to do so that he can tell people how smart he is and all that kind of shit. And that's why I said this year is about a commitment to results. I don't care if you think I'm smart. I won't tell it to you in a different way. I just want you to grasp onto the real issue here. The real issue is, as human beings, we've spent our life committed to just looking good as a character. And that's been our commitment, and we've lived it every day. And we've committed to not getting the short end of the stick, and not getting robbed, and not getting cheated. And we've committed to looking good, and we haven't committed to presence. We haven't committed to peace. We haven't committed to connection. And we've committed to being right. Oh, and we've done it at all costs. We've argued. We've left people. We've given up relationships. We have committed to being right. And when we're not right, we leave, or they leave. One of the two. And connection, forget it. Love, forget it. And there's something in the way of love. And until you're ready to admit that, you're never going to find love. And you have to admit what's in the way. It's not their behavior. It's not because they need to change. It has nothing to do with them. What's in the way of love is actually you, your problems, your disagreement with the way things are, your judgment, your righteousness. So you want to love? Okay, good. You just got to get rid of all your righteousness, all your being right, all your judgment. And even if you could just admit that you have it after you get to that point, well, then maybe it's possible. The initiation that I do not love people started. My initiation of loving people started with the fact that I admitted I don't love people, that I'm too scared, that I'm too afraid, that I'm too judgmental, that I'm too protective to love. And once I was able to admit that, the possibility of being able to love someone finally showed up. And now it's still just a possibility, because I still got massive work to get all this shit out of the way. I can't love somebody. They're wrong. They're always wrong. So now, in order for me to love somebody, I got to convince them of how wrong they are and make sure they know it so they change so that I can love them. And that was the quest that I was on before. I have to convince them why they're not perfect. The reality was they just kind of annoyed me, and they annoyed me because I was insecure. And they weren't hearing that I was more smart than they were. Or they weren't hearing that I was better than them. So I can't love them yet. They need to hear it. I need to be convinced that they know I'm smart. I need to be convinced that they're going to do what I say. Then maybe I'll take the chance on love. And so self-manifested in various ways is what defeated us. Being convinced that self-manifested in various ways is what defeated us. We considered its common manifestations. And that's the new year. And that's always been what we're doing. Considering the common manifestations of a character called art that gets in the way of love, that gets in the way of success, and chooses being right over all those things. I will be right and still fail. It's okay. I will be right and have no success, but at least I'm right. I will be right and have nobody around me and just yell at the TV, rather than just like saying, admitting that I've never understood how to love and I've never understood what was in the way. And I'm starting to get there. Barely. I've been protecting myself for 46 years, so it's hard to love people because what's that going to be? How do I do that when they're so wrong and they do so many bad things and they hurt me in so many ways? Then how do I love them? Well, you just get it figured out that you're just protecting yourself from what? What is it? You're protecting yourself because you want to keep looking good. You're worried that if you go ahead and give everything and then they leave, you don't look good. So you protect yourself. Why? Because you're still committed to looking good. But how about you commit to being present, what you are, being now, and then maybe love will show up. Maybe there's a chance, but you got to first admit it. You can't love and hate. Don't tell me you love somebody and then you hate them too. You don't. That don't work. They don't mix.
We got Mike and Kathy Hewlett in line.
All right.
All right. Go ahead, guys. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. First of all, this is awesome tonight. I love hearing it, and I'm so guilty of, I guess, guilty of everything you're saying. Basically, I'm always trying to fix everything. But I'm also very curious about if there's any, I guess, ways to help. I need to figure out how to help myself, like at night. That's the worst time. When I'm laying at night, that's when I'm judging my whole day. And that's when I'm in that person that I'm supposed to be. Or I'm, that's the hardest when it's so quiet. And I know I've done taken mindfulness, and you're supposed to focus on breath, and it lasts for a little bit. And all of a sudden I realize, I'm talking to myself again in my head and judging myself again about, I did, should have done this differently. Or that piece is so hard. Is at night I have a hard time, I guess, trying to.
Me too. Me too. Me too. When things are difficult, I don't sleep well. I lay up at night obsessing. I'm tired. Whatever. It's okay. I do that too. And what I can tell you is that all I can do is try to improve my practice during the day. Because at night, when that shows up, I'm telling you, it's too late by then. When you begin to obsess at something, I'm not telling you there's Dave, I just started coaching with Dave Smith, who's a meditation teacher, and he'll be speaking in next month. So I do private stuff with Dave, and he tells me that relief is always a breath away. I'm still trying to get there, because sometimes I get wound up too tight, and no matter how many breaths I take, I can't get out of there. Yeah. And I just want to, and it always is baffling too, because it seems like the people I need to talk to and tell about themselves, they're not awake when I'm awake.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I want to be able to it's 3 a.m. I want to call these people and tell them how shitty they are. And they're never awake at the same time as me. But then I also realize that it has something to do with the tired mind. The mind gets tired and fatigued. And when the mind's tired and fatigued, it is insatiable with its obsessions. And so you'll wake up. Notice that when you wake up, it's gone. That you will feel like in the middle of the night, you needed to call somebody and tell them about themselves. But when you wake up, you don't feel the same way. It's gone. And when you're at night, you really feel like these things are bigger than they are.
Yeah.
They feel so important at night. And they don't feel as important when you wake up. And that's what I realized, is that a lot of times my mind is just tired. And, I'm still at the point where I can I'm not going to tell you that I get up in the middle of the night and meditate and do anything. At that point, I know it's probably too late. And I just try to distract myself, or, whatever, whatever I do. So when I figure out how to not do what you're saying, I'll let you know. But I haven't really, I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, figure it out quick, would you?
I don't take drugs, but at those points, it seems like a drug would be nice, you know?
Yeah.
If I could just get a hit of, you know.
My melatonin's not cutting it. So.
Yeah, that melatonin, right? That's some soft stuff, you know? Yeah. Yeah. I need something like a horse tranquilizer or something, you know? But it always is, and it's seeing it during the day and dealing with it. And again, I've increased my meditation practice, and now I'm doing it again for the first time in a long time. I used to have a practice. I used to meditate daily, and then I stopped because I thought I had it figured out. I thought, wow, I'm set. I'm never doing this stuff. And now it's like I meditate just because I know that it makes the mind stronger. It just does. So you just do that because that'll make the mind stronger. Thank you, Kathy. That was good.
Thanks, Kathy. All right, we have about 4 minutes. If there's one more person, we can do it, or we'll have Art wrap up. Let's see.
Bill.
Okay, great.
Mr. Wiggins.
Mr. Wiggins.
Yeah. Mr. Wiggins.
There we go.
This is off topic, but are Chris and Lori Dersh on?
They're not here tonight.
Okay, well, maybe I'll save it for later then when they are on.
Okay, yeah, we'll do it first of the year announcements.
Okay, let's do it then.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually going to just close with. Just a heads up to everybody. The first week of January, we'll fill you guys all in on what Art just kind of hinted at in the new structure for the new year. We'll be prepared to fill you in on all that the first week of the first one of the year.
Are we ready to close it?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the year for Solution Group, and the end of it. Was this our 5th year, Ange?
We started Solution Groups in, was it 14? I think it was late. It was fall of 14. So it's been 6 years.
So that's 6 years of Tuesdays, which is about 245 Tuesdays a year for 6 days. So this might be up around our, 13th, or no, 52 weeks. So 52 weeks, we got about 45 weeks a year times 6. So we're up around.
Remember when we did 2?
We used to do 2 episodes a day. We
had so many people that came and not enough space that we did 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah. So we're up around 250 episodes of Solution that we've all been a part of.
And we have on video from June of 2016 is when we started recording.
Yeah.
That. So we have a library all the way that stems back to June of 16.
Yeah. It's been a long ride. Well, this has been we're hoping that maybe we can get out of our house next year, and maybe Joe Biden does us some good and doesn't end up in a nursing home, which seems like we might be looking at our first president in the nursing home, but I don't know. We're hopeful, and we're hopeful that all this kind of clears up so we can get together in person. I really, we're gonna do 2 things in the new year with Solution Group. Well, maybe 3 things. The first thing that we're going to do is really enhance this Kyle's Comedy Corner, and make sure that it really gets the credit it deserves and the spotlight it deserves. And then we're also going to have the Battlefield in the Spotlight every month and have a speaker. And then the other 3 weeks, I'll probably be participating in doing the talk or doing group, or maybe 2 of the weeks. And we might bring in some other people, and Kyle might do his first Solution Group next year in 2021. Kyle's really become a student of this practice, and he's been doing it. And Jeff might come in and have his thoughts and do his, and Becky and Kristen and Angie might do a mother's Solution Group. So we're going to mix it up next year. and hopefully we'll be able to come out of our house. But I'm starting to like Zoom. I think it's I really think it's an effective way that we can all get together quickly and better, and in the warmth of our home and all that. At least you don't have to drive home right now. You're already there. So again, I just happy we made it, and I'm really, really impressed with the fact that we had the durability as a group and as an organization to withstand this year. And I think for sure we're going to scale this thing and come back bigger than ever next year. So again, Merry Christmas to everyone. It's very weird. I don't know how we're going to get the Christmas spirit. I'm not feeling it yet, but we have a big, huge Santa on top of my house. These drug addicts have figured, snowman. These drug addicts have figured out a way to make my house look like a drug house or something, or somebody's. I don't know.
Come on.
No,
it looks good.
I didn't know they were. I was taking a nap and I came out and I heard somebody on the roof, and I didn't know what they were doing up there. But they were putting the Santa, this big, huge inflatable thing, snowman, up on my roof. And it is huge. It's a family. It's 3 big, huge snowmen. It used to be in the yard at the big house, and now it's just on top of my house. So it looks really weird. And they were adamant that they needed to go get a Christmas tree and they needed to decorate the place, and it looks really good now. So maybe we'll get some Christmas spirit. Maybe all of us will be able to be with our families or whatever it is. But again, what a great year, even with the difficulties. And I hope this pushed you into your practice, and I hope you commit to it. And in the new year, I hope the questions come, and the way I know that people are practicing this and trying to hear it is that they're doing it and they're having questions about it. So this is the solution. We call it Solution Group. I hope we get everybody committed to the proper solution. And thank you for 2020, and we'll see you next year. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thanks, Art. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in January. In the meantime, reach out anytime you need. All right, guys. Good night. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
I know.
That was pretty funny.
Good night.
Good night.